These are curved jewels, in Japanese Magatama, and they're found in fact and in mythology. I'll deal with the facts first. They're found all over Japan, from Jomon period archaeological sites to ancient tomb period archaeological sites where they are buried with people in tombs. Uh, and they usually are on strings of bracelets around the necks of the dead, or presumably the living as well. And there's a large number of theories according to the shape of these curved jewels. They're also found in Korea, where they're called goguk, which means comma jewels, as they're comma shaped, and they were strung together with small mirrors, as is common in shamanistic religions, together with small mirrors from the tree-shaped head regalia, tree-shaped head regalia of ancient Korean monarchs, so that they have something in common with mirrors. Since they were hung from a tree-shaped thing, it was sometimes presumed that they were symbolizing fruit. Other theories as to their shape is that they're the shape of a fetus, the moon. I mentioned commas already. The soul. Why should they be the shape of the soul? Fetus, moon, crescent, soul. One of the ones I quite liked was the suggestion that since they appear to fit together like this, that oh no, not like that, that they could be parts of the Taoist or Shinto. In Taoism, there's a double this shape. It's called a tomoe. And in Shinto, there's a triple one, which is made out of three of these kind of droplets or commas that intersect and fit in together with each other, something like that, to make a sort of circle, and so that they fit together. There are other theories, but no one really knows. However, recent research, and it seems very visually compelling, suggests that they were originally made, yes, they did fit together, but in a different way. They were originally made from broken butt-shaped, now that is the real Japanese word, ketsu, shaped, this is an anus presumably, butt-shaped earrings that were broken in half, because there's evidence of these earrings, and they were actually used as earrings, it's quite clear of that, and that there are evidence that they were broken in half like this, and for some reason then developed into the presumably developed into the curved jewels, and were worn around the neck as a necklace, so that they started off as an earring and then were split in two and were made into a necklace. They're associated with mirrors, and they're also moving on to the mythology now, they're one of the three symbols of the Japanese imperial lineage, the three sacred jewels, which are the mirror, the sword, and these jewels. Okay, they appear in Japanese mythology in a few places, other than as the imperial regalia. Take these regalia down to earth with you, as my descendant upon earth, the sun goddess, said. Her mirror and the sword and the jewels. They first appear in the myth where Susano'o goes to see his sister, and he meets her at a well in the centre of heaven, where she's dressed up as a bloke, and I suggest that perhaps he doesn't really meet her so much as his own image in this well, which is a reflecting surface. However, they take each other's regalia. He's got a sword, and she's got these curved jewels, and they chew them and spit them out into the well. So in a sense, therefore, the sword and the jewels form a pair, because she takes his sword, he takes her jewels, they both chew them up and spit them out into the mirror. Isn't that fascinating? I never saw them as paired with a sword before. But okay, so you've got this mirror, which they seem to be spitting them out into, and swords and jewels. Okay, now, we've got the third. They appear one more time these jewels. They appear when they want to get the sun goddess out of the cave that she's hidden herself into, and they're sort of party dress regalia at that point. And they're made by the parent of jewels, it's said, and the parent of jewels shrine is here to my house. In fact, it's about 20 kilometres away, and that's where I purchased this one, which is very Taoist looking, but it's Shinto, and it fits perfectly into my ear, incidentally, and it's got a little bell on it. Anyway, so, anything theoretical about this? Why should you want to give someone a piece of your ear? Have a piece of my ear, or a piece of my earring. Well, and why should that become so sort of famous and symbolic? And why should that be associated with mirrors? Well, according to a large number of Western, rather arcane, but Western theorists, in order to have a self, as they say in Ubuntu philosophy, people become people via people, you need to internalize other people within you, and one way of doing this is as an ear. Yeah? So if I have an ear of other people in my head, then or my loved ones, or people who are important to me, then I sort of narrate myself before them or to them, and that creates a self. So here, have a piece of my ear, and then you sort of might internalize someone else into split up their earring. One person keeps half, the other person keeps the other half, and they form this sort of dyad, which in each of the hearts of each, they narrate itself to those ears. And this might explain why they're associated with mirrors, because mirrors are another way of internalizing the other as a gaze. And so, in other words, one can enact oneself. This is how I believe the Japanese have their own self. Is their self is enacted in the gaze of internalized others. And it may also explain something to do with the pairing with a sword, because the sword is associated with naming later on in the mythology. So that an ear is always associated with a name, perhaps, or a sword is a symbol of a person. But maybe the sword was Yamato Takeru. It's difficult to explain this, the doubling up in this mythology, but Yamato Takeru receives his name as a result of spearing someone with a sword in a similar way to early on in the myth where the sword of the regalia originated. So perhaps the sword and the ear are sort of a pairing of the name and oral perspective, whereas the mirror provides both a representation and a gaze, because you can see yourself in a mirror, and also you can sense that sort of sense of gaze. Well, that's as far as I got, probably taking it far too far, but I'm suggesting that they are sort of symbolic of self parts, which ancient Japanese were aware of, but we've lost. We think of the self as being a sort of unity thing, whereas Africans with their Ubuntu philosophy, or ancient Japanese, were aware that there are parts to the self and of the internalization of others as a requirement for the creation of self, and maybe that's how they represented it. Here we go. And these were made by my children. These two were made by my children at Yoshinogari Historical Park, where they give you a rectangular block of stone in pink or blue, and allow children or adults as well, to make these curved jewels. And this one, as I said before, is sold as an amulet at the parent of the jewel shrine near Hofu, or Tamano Oya Shrine. Very nice shrine, nice little shrine. We'll be going there every New Year, I think. So there we have it.